The 4 grounds of mindfulness. Section 1. I heard these words of the Buddha one time when the Lord was staying in the town of Dharma in the land of the Kuru people. The Lord addressed the bhikkhus. There is a path which can help beings realize purification, overcome anxiety and fear, end pain, distress, and grief, and attain the right practice. This is the path to dwelling in the 4 grounds of mindfulness. What are the 4 grounds of mindfulness? They are the 4 methods of observing body as body, feeling as feeling, mind as mind, and objects of mind as objects of mind. Section 2. What is the way to remain established in the awareness of body as body? When the practitioner walks, they know they are walking. When they stand, they know they are standing. When they sit, they know they are sitting. When they lie down, they know they are lying down. When they wake up, they know they are waking up. Awake or asleep, they know they are awake or asleep. Further, bhikkhus, when practicing awareness of the body, the practitioner is clearly aware of the positions and movements of the body, such as going out and coming in, bending down and standing up, extending limbs or drawing them in, when wearing the Sangati robe, carrying the alms bowl, walking, standing, lying, sitting, speaking, or being silent. They know the skillful way of being aware. Further, bhikkhus, a practitioner is aware of body as body. When breathing in, they know they are breathing in, and breathing out, they know that they are breathing out. When breathing in a long breath, they know they are breathing in a long breath. When breathing out a long breath, they know they are breathing out a long breath. When breathing in, they are aware of their whole body. Breathing in, they are aware of the cessation of the activity of their body. Breathing in, they are aware of the cessation of the activity of their speech. Further, bhikkhu, the practitioner is aware of body as body. When feelings of bliss, joy, happiness, and equanimity arise during their concentration and saturate every part of their body, these feelings envelop the whole of their body, just as someone who puts on a very long robe which reaches from their head to their feet, and there is no part of their body which is not covered by this robe. So the practitioner with an equanimous mind envelops their whole body in understanding and leaves no part of the body untouched. Further, bhikkhu, the practitioner is aware of the body, knows very well that this body exists due to the interdependence of the parts of the body, from the top of the head to the soles of the feet. They see all the parts of the body, observe the elements which comprise the parts of their body, and visualize the dispersion of these elements back to the earth. When they visualize it like this, they compare it with their own body. This body of mine will also undergo a transformation such as this. In the end, there is no way it can avoid this condition. This is how the practitioner is aware of body as body, both inside the body and outside the body, and establishes mindfulness in the body with recognition, insight, clarity, and realization. This is called being aware of body as body. Section 3. What is the way to remain established in the awareness of feeling as feeling? When the practitioner has a pleasant feeling, they know immediately that they have a pleasant feeling. When they have an unpleasant feeling, they know immediately they have an unpleasant feeling. When they have a neutral feeling, they know immediately they have a neutral feeling. The same is true when the practitioner has a pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feeling in the body, of the mind, of this world, not of this world, with desire, not associated with desire. This is how the practitioner is aware of feelings as feelings, both inside the feelings and outside of the feelings, and establishes right mindfulness. If there are bhikkhus and bhikkhunis who meditate on feelings as feelings according to these instructions, then they are capable of dwelling in the meditation of feelings on feelings. Section 4. What is the way to remain established in the meditation on mind as mind? When the practitioner's mind is attached to something, they know it is attached to something. When the practitioner's mind is not attached, they know it is not attached. The same is true when the practitioner's mind hates something or is not hating, is confused or is not confused, is defiled or not defiled, is distracted or not distracted, has obstacles or has no obstacles, is tense or is not tense, is boundless or is bound, is concentrating or is not concentrating, is liberated or is not liberated. This is how the practitioner is aware of mind as mind, both inside the mind and outside the mind, and establishes mindfulness in the mind with recognition, insight, clarity, and realization. And that is called being aware of mind as mind. If bhikkhus or bhikkhunis meditate on mind as mind according to the details of these instructions, then they know how to dwell in the practice of observing mind as mind. Section 5. What is the way to remain established in the meditation on objects of mind as objects of mind? When the practitioner realizes that their eyes in contact with form give rise to an internal formation, then they know without any doubt that an internal formation is being formed. If there is no internal formation, they know without any doubt that there is no internal formation. If an internal formation which had not arisen formerly now arises, they know this. If an internal formation which had not arisen formerly now comes to an end and will not arise again, they know this. The same is true with all the other sense organs, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. If bhikkhus or bhikkhunis meditate on objects of mind as objects of mind according to these instructions, then they know how to dwell in the practice of observing objects of mind as objects of mind in the 6 realms of consciousness. Further, bhikkhus, when the practitioner is meditating on objects of mind as objects of mind, if they see sensual desire in themselves, they know without any doubt the sensual desire is there. If they see no sensual desire in themselves, they know without any doubt that no sensual desire is there. If a sensual desire which has not arisen formerly now arises, they know this without any doubt. If a sensual desire which had arisen formerly now comes to an end, they also know this without any doubt. The same is true of the 4 other obstacles: anger, torpor, agitation, and doubt. If bhikkhus or bhikkhunis meditate on objects of mind as objects of mind according to the details of these instructions, then they know how to dwell in the practice of observing objects of mind with regard to the 5 hidden obstacles. Further, bhikkhus, when a practitioner is meditating on objects of mind as objects of mind, if they see in their mind the factor of awakening mindfulness, they know without any doubt that mindfulness is there. When mindfulness is not present, they know without a doubt that mindfulness is not present. When mindfulness, which had formerly not been present, is now present, the practitioner also knows this without any doubt. When mindfulness has arisen and is still present, is not lost, does not decline, but increases, the practitioner is also aware of all this. The same is true of all the factors of awakening, the investigation of dharmas, energy, joys, ease, concentration, and equanimity. This is how the practitioner is aware of objects of mind as objects of mind, both the inside of the object and the outside of the object, and establishes mindfulness in the object of mind with understanding, insight, clarity, and realization. And that is called being aware of objects of mind as objects of mind. If bhikkhus or bhikkhunis meditate on objects of mind as objects of mind according to these instructions, then they know how to dwell in the practice of meditating on objects of mind regard to the 7 factors of awakening. After the Lord Buddha had spoken, the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis who heard him teach were delighted and endeavored to carry out the practice. We will have no silence until we start that again. Invite our incense lighters to come forward, please. If you open your chant books and look inside the cover, there's an incense offering that we'll chant together. In gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. Morning. My name is Kunga Nyima. I'm a social work. Sorry, forgot where I was. I'm one of the Dharma teachers here at the temple, and I'll start off today's service with the courtesy announcements. Families with small children are welcome to use the downstairs area for their needs. There's a water fountain cups down there. If you find there's a need for seats or family members who would like to sit together, please adjust your seat accordingly. Sangha members, please do not walk directly in front. If you need to use the bathrooms over there, just walk in the back behind everyone. And we are chanting at a medium upbeat tempo to try and breathe life into the sutras. So I invite everyone to please stand and greet each other. And if you would open up your chant books, we'll be on page 7. We'll be chanting 3 references together.
I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion, and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts.
And on the next page 8, we'll chant the Heart Sutra together, beginning with the title.
Dhamma Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, from the deep practice of prajna, paramita, received the emptiness of all 5 skandhas, and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, body, mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight, no realm of consciousness. No ignorance, no extinction of ignorance. No old age and death, no extinction of them. No suffering, no cause of suffering. No cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering. No knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna, paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant fearless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Prajna, paramita, Hridaya Sutra.
Please sit. Good morning again. So I wanted to say a little bit about Father's Day before I started my Dharma talk. And since my Dharma talk is going to really be following the model of the 4 Grounds of Mindfulness, which we chanted this morning, I thought I would just apply that to Father's Day as well. So the first ground of mindfulness is body or form. So we can look at each of these elements inside of ourselves and outside of ourselves. Inside of ourselves, we are all fathers. We all contain the seeds of our fathers and our fathers' fathers and all of our ancestors going back. In a very real way, our Father is us. On the outside, we can look at, we can think about fathers through the lens of our senses and what we perceive in TV and movies and books, all the images that our society tells us this is what fathers are, it's what fathers represents. If we think about the second ground of mindfulness, we think about feelings. We can think of feelings as having pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feelings about ourselves as a father at different times, and about our relationship with our fathers, and the fathers we see depicted in the media. And that's okay to have those different feelings. Even though we're celebrating Father's Day, doesn't mean we always love our fathers or we always feel like we're being the best father. The third ground of mindfulness is mind or emotions. So, these different feelings, a pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, can lead us to experience feelings of love or hate or fear or safety or jealousy or regret. And, as fathers or in relationship to our fathers, we feel all those things, and that's okay. Different situations are going to bring up different causes and conditions, and we're not going to always love our fathers or love ourselves as fathers as we would like to. And then the fourth ground of mindfulness is objects of mind as mind. So this has to do with our thought patterns. And so I would just encourage you to not be attached to any single identity as a father or any single relationship with your father. That those relationships are going to develop and change over time. You as a father are going to change and develop over time. And so just don't be attached to that. It's going to make it a lot easier for you as a father and as a relationship with a father. It's just going to make it more realistic, I think. So that's what I wanted to say about Father's Day a little bit. So my talk today is called the Bodhisattva Vow, Save All Beings. So when we chant our closing gathas, we say that we are going to, all beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless divine passions, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. So the first vow is liberating all beings. Okay? So what I'm going to do today is I'm sort of talk about that idea. In one of our Bodhisattva classes a couple months ago, Venerable Yang Su asked us that question, how do you liberate all beings? And the first thing that came to my mind was, we liberate all beings one being at a time. So that can sound kind of flip, but I think that in my talk, I hope to expand and deepen that so that it will be a little bit more meaningful. So in my talk, I'm going to start out with a quote from the Diamond Sutra, which the Buddha talks a lot about how you liberate beings. And then I'm going to use the 4 grounds of mindfulness as kind of a plan to kind of go through identifying obstacles and opportunities for us to liberate beings in our everyday life. So this is what the Diamond Sutra says about saving all beings. However many beings there are, in whatever realms of beings might exist, whether they are born from an egg or born from a womb, born from water or born from the air, whether they have no form or form, whether they have perception or no perception, or neither perception nor no perception. In whatever conceivable realm of being one might conceive of beings, in the realm of complete nirvana, I shall liberate them all. And though I thus liberate countless beings, not a single being is liberated. So according to the Diamond Sutra, the reason that it's no beings are liberated, even though we're saying we're going to liberate all beings, is because we're liberating beings without attachment to this idea of what is a being. Okay. So we'll start out with the first part of the 4 grounds of mindfulness, which is about form, which is about beings. Okay. And so in this quote, the Buddha says we really need to liberate all beings. Okay. He doesn't just say living beings. He says living beings and non-living beings. He says sentient or thinking beings and non-thinking beings, and even beings that we may not perceive as beings or even know that they're beings. Okay, so pretty much everything. So in the 4 grounds of mindfulness, we say that the world is experienced through our 6 sense organs. Okay, in an earlier talk, I talked about three bodies of the Buddha. The first body is the physical body of the Buddha. Okay, the physical body of the Buddha is the body that we perceive through our 6 sense organs. What we smell, what we hear, what we taste with our mouth, what we feel with our body, see with our eyes, whatever we receive in our mind as thoughts, those are all the physical body of the Buddha. So I think the Diamond Sutra, the Buddha is saying that we need to liberate the whole Buddha, the whole physical body of the Buddha. Basically, every single thing we perceive with our perceptions. So basically, we're having perceptions as long as we're awake, right? And every moment we're awake is like, that's an experience of the Buddha's body. So when we're saving all beings, we're basically saving each moment of awakeness, okay? And we save this moment by not being attached to it. So the idea is, how are we not attached to what we're experiencing? We're just not judging it. So if we can just receive our experiences as they are and not be prejudiced about how they should be or the way we wish they were, the way they were before, where they think we should be the same, or that we don't like the experience or it's a bad experience. If we're not judging or prejudiced about the experience, that's kind of being not attached to the experience. So I think an easy way to think about this is if we think about all of our experiences as being the Buddha's physical body, just think the Buddha's body is already perfect. There's nothing we need to do to it to make it better. So whenever we're judging, we're trying to change what's already perfect. So just that's the way to keep that in mind, okay? So that's the first one. The second one has to do with feelings, okay? So the Buddha doesn't just say we should save beings when we feel like it. He's basically saying we should save beings all the time. We should save beings regardless of whether it feels pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. It's easier to save beings when we like them, right? So like our friends and our families and our spouses, our partners, we like them already. We think we know what makes them happy, so we try and do that most of the time. And doing that, we're working towards saving them. We're trying to help them achieve happiness and reduce their suffering. So, but what about people that we feel neutral about? We don't really know what they like. We don't really know much about them. They're kind of maybe strangers, people we pass in the store, cashiers that wait on us, people that pass us on the highway, people that cut us off on the highway. Anybody that we're kind of encountering we don't really know. How can we save them? So there's a Zen story, or I guess a Zen rule really, that says when you leave the monastery, the monks should keep their eye on the road and avoid distractions that are going to upset their mind. But there's an exception. If you encounter another person, you should look up and smile at them, okay? Because smiling is pretty universal. It makes people feel good, can help alleviate suffering. Okay? So we can do that ourselves with people we don't know, but we don't have to limit it to ourselves to people. We can do that to anything that pops up in our perceptions. So anything we hear, anything we smell, anything we taste, any thought we have, when it first comes up, we can just kind of internally smile at it and kind of greet it before we jump on it with like, oh, this is how it should be, or I don't like this. Okay? So that's a way to do that saving with neutral people or neutral experiences. The third one I think is the most challenging. How do you save beings where just the thought of that being makes you feel unpleasant? So one thing to remember is that all beings, human beings anyway, started out as babies, right? And we wouldn't blame a baby for anything. A baby is completely innocent. Through the baby's life, they experience causes and conditions that created the kind of person they are now. If we had been that baby and gone through those same causes and conditions, we might be acting the same way as that person. And the other thing is to remember that the Buddha said all beings seek happiness and to avoid suffering. So even people we dislike are seeking to be happy and to avoid suffering. And they have people they love when they're trying to help those people do the same. So when we're thinking about, people that we dislike or generate unpleasant feelings, we can think about trying that. So the next section of mindfulness is mindfulness of mind or emotions. Okay. So most of the time, we really, if we want to save beings, we'll feel compassionate and empathetic. That seems to be like when we're feeling that way, it's really easy to save beings. I feel sorry for that person. I want to help them, or they're in a difficult situation. I feel like I could help them, or oh, that person's in distress. Maybe I could offer. If we have some kind of connection with them, it's easier. But what if we're jealous of that person, or what if we're angry at that person, or we just feel tired or distracted? How do we save people when we have these mind states which don't lend themselves to being helpful and maybe being skillful? So I would say that in those situations, the person that we're trying to save is ourselves. Okay. So if we recognize that we're being overwhelmed by our emotions, some emotions that are creating difficulties for others, for ourselves, and could do that so for others as well, that we follow Thich Nhat Hanh's advice. Thich Nhat Hanh says if you're feeling angry, you should kind of cradle that anger like you would cradle a loving child. Being present for it, nurture it, just give it space. Look deeply at it mindfully and try and figure out what are the causes and conditions that are making this happen. The idea is if you look deeply, you'll probably notice that this emotion, this negative emotion, is brought about because you're attached to something or you're trying to avoid something. Okay? But just to take the time to be there with yourself, experience the emotion without acting out on it until you can kind of develop your equilibrium, and then go out and try and save other beings. And you can do the same thing with jealousy or any emotion that you feel that might be of a barrier. The fourth section of mindfulness is mindfulness of objects of mind. So this is like thought patterns, and specifically thinking about thought patterns that are a barrier to our spiritual practice. So I think with this one, the barrier is doubt. Like when someone tells you, when we take the vow to save all beings, we can doubt that we can actually do that. We may feel like that's too big, that's unrealistic. There's no way you could do it, or maybe even all people don't deserve to be saved. So these are these kind of obstacles. So the one way to think about this is you're not doing it alone. Okay? You are interconnected with everyone else in the universe and in the, that exists. And other people are also helping to work towards saving other beings. You're not the only one. You don't have to do it by yourself. Came across a book a couple months ago called Thanks 1,000. And some of you may have heard about it. The writer, his premise was that when he had his cup of coffee there in the morning, he was thankful for getting it. And maybe what would it be like if he went out and tried to thank everyone that made that cup of coffee possible? So thank personally, like the person that sold him the coffee, the truck driver that delivered the coffee to the store, the person who picked the coffee, harvested the coffee. And then he keeps on going on, like the person who designed the roads, the person who built the roads, the person that organized the transport of the coffee to get to the United States. And it goes on, right? In his book, he actually lists 1,000 people, but he basically just kind of arbitrarily stops, right? Because in the end, all those people are supported by other people and supported by other people. And it takes really the whole world to bring him his cup of coffee. Another way to think about our interconnectedness with others is to think about the image of Indra's net. So Indra is one of the ancient Indian gods. And one of his weapons was this war net, to entangle his enemies. And every intersection of the threads of this net had a precious jewel. And this jewel was multifaceted and reflected all the other jewels within the net. So it's like, if you go into a funhouse mirror room and you look around and all the mirrors are reflecting you and you're being reflected there endlessly. So that's what was going on with Indra's net. So each one of us is like that jewel. We're reflecting everyone else that we come in contact with, everyone that our parents and our families came in contact with, and, all the way back until basically the beginning of the universe, really. So there's that interconnectedness that means that anything that we do, anything we think about, speak, or do is going to have repercussions for everyone else. So really all we need to do is to kind of act mindfully each moment that we remember. And that's how we kind of save all beings each moment. So I just want to kind of summarize what I've been talking about. So the Buddha tells the Bodhisattva to save all beings by saving no beings. What the Buddha means by no beings is to save all beings without any prejudice or attachment. We don't limit our beings to just human beings. You know, we think about beings to include animal beings, mineral beings, element beings. Basically, any experience that we have through our senses, we can think of that as a being. So just by saving all beings, we're trying to save all experiences that we have. If we think about the second ground, the Buddha doesn't just tell us to save beings when it feels pleasant. We also need to save beings when we feel neutral about it or when we feel unpleasant. And the way to do that is just to kind of think about, remember that all beings started as infants, started as babies, and through causes and conditions, they ended up where they were. You know, we could have been there too. That could have been us. The next one was save beings regardless of whether we feel compassionate or empathetic with them. We should still save beings when we feel jealous or angry or upset. But in those cases, the being that we should start with is maybe ourselves, you know. And then the last one, just remember that saving beings happens each moment, and you're not the only one doing it. So there's other people helping you. So there's some connection there, some support for you. And just to end it with, how do we save all beings? One being or one moment at a time. Okay. Thank you. So I want to give a little bit of meditation instruction before we start. Try and sit in a comfortable position. If you can sit on the cushion, or we do have chairs as well. If you're sitting in a chair, sit with your feet flat on the ground. Try and get your back straight. If you're sitting on a cushion in the floor, just put your feet comfortably in front of you, or you can sit kneeling on the cushion as well. Try to sit up straight. Think about a string maybe going from your spine and kind of pulling you up. Tuck your chin in. Relax your hands in your lap. I usually put my left hand down, my right hand inside, thumbs lightly touching. And the nice thing about that posture, it's like a non-grasping posture. You know, our meditation is about not being attached to things. So as you're sitting there, you can have your eyes open or closed. If you're having them open, it's easier to look down at the ground like at a 45-degree angle. But if you want to have them closed, that's fine also. And a simple object of meditation can be awareness of your breathing. Awareness of the breath coming into your body and then going out. And if you want to add a level of complexity to it, breathe in and breathe out and count 5 to yourself silently. I'll do all the way down to 1 and then start over back at 5. And that can help you maintain your focus of concentration. If you find your mind wandering or you figure out what you're doing, just go back to monitoring your breath. You know, don't worry about it. All you have to do in that moment is just provide that open awareness. I will sound the bell 3 times to start us and 3 times to end. All right. Now we have opportunity for joys and concerns. Joys and concerns is our chance to practice the four immeasurables: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. So loving kindness is the wish that others have happiness. Compassion is the wish that others be relieved of their suffering. Um, Sympathetic joy is just sharing in the happiness of others. And equanimity, it's just realizing that life had ups and downs, and we can accept that as part of life, and we don't have to be thrown about, like a ball in the ocean when something good or bad happens to us. We can experience the joy in the sorrow and still maintain a sense of ourselves. So if you would like to share a joy or concern, just raise your hand, and someone will bring a mic to you. The mic is for the people who are joining us online, so speak loud because the mic does not project in this space. Thank you. Do you want to use this mic?
Good morning, I'm Yang Su. To a joy, my grandson Matt is visiting from California, and we have been having a great time together, and we had a wonderful time at Pride yesterday. It is an amazing event. A group of people that have been so marginalized and abused coming together and being free. The concern after Pride, we went to an ice cream shop and we were all decked out in our stuff, rainbows and all that. And the young girl waiting on us commented on all of our clothing. And I said, yeah, we've just been to Pride. You ought to go. And they said, I can't for the next couple of years. My family won't let me. That's why we go to Pride. And that's why people wear these shirts that say, moms who give hugs, dads who give hugs, because that just hits to the core.
Good morning, everyone. I have a concern. There was a pretty tragic train accident in India. I believe it was either last week or the week before that. And a lot of people lost their lives and were injured. So keep their families and those who have passed in your thoughts these next 50 or so days.
I wanted to share two joys. My youngest daughter, Meme, graduated high school. So we had a graduation party yesterday. So that was exciting for her. She's going to Michigan State. And then my older daughter, Audrey, got engaged 2 weeks ago, I think. Excited about that. The wedding's not till 2025, though. But, thank you.
My name is Dwight. I have a joy. I'm currently in guiding light and going through recovery. And I was informed that my 87-year-old grandmother's boyfriend, who's 92, who I've only met twice, left a donation because he's really proud of me. And I just thought that was really cool how somebody I never really considered that I affect or would be directly affecting with my decision making, and clearly I'm affecting. So I think that's pretty cool.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Anna. I'm here to give the Dana announcement. So Dana is the practice of generosity in Buddhism. And there are Dana boxes at each end of the hall where you can, am I not on camera? Where you can leave a donation of cash or check. There's also a QR code where you can scan and it will take you to PayPal. Or on the website, zengr.org, you can also reach PayPal that way. And at the bottom of the YouTube video, there's a button that says see more. There should also be a link that will take you to PayPal. If you'd like to donate material goods to help keep the temple running, like toilet paper, tea bags, paper towel, you can see one of the teachers and they will explain more about that to you. So thank you for your generosity.
So for June events, set up for the temple is at 9 o'clock. So if you're interested in help setting up, putting out chant books, making sure the cushions are straight, we can always use assistance at that time. 9:30 is the morning bell chant, and then service starts at 10. From 11 to 11:30, we have social hour downstairs. Please join us if you'd like. The Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple board meeting, all Sangha members are invited to attend Sunday, June 25th from 11:30 to 1. Meet at temple or via Google Meet. We have an online meditation group that meets every Wednesday from 7:30 to 8:15. Join via Zoom, and you can get that link in the newsletter and also on our website. Buddhist-based recovery meetings. For more information on those, you can talk to Kajisu right there. We have them on Mondays at 6:30. It starts with meditation, 7 p.m. meeting at the temple. Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. at the Alano Club. And on Friday, 10:05 a.m. meditation, 10:30 meeting at Garfield Park, or join via Zoom.